Hello and a warm welcome on today's GoldenMuseTV, another show about how we can expand, how we can explore and evolve. And on today's show, I'm really excited and delighted to welcome Viola Edward. Hello, Viola.
Hello, Chrisoula, my dear. How are you?
I am excited. I am feeling great because here is a beautiful summery day in England, in Cheshire, where I am based, and you are in wonderful Cyprus.
Yes, and today is very nice because we have a little bit of a breeze, and it's like summery day, but it's not very hot because there is breeze, and it feels such wonderful, like wonderful.
Yes. Well, Viola is a psychotherapist and breath worker, and as part of the Soulful Musings series, Viola is here to share her own musings with you, and we are going to concentrate on something that is absolutely vital for you and for your children, for the people in your life, for every single person on this wonderful planet Earth, which is breath.
Yeah.
Without breath, there's no life. So, however, we do take it for granted, and sometimes we even forget to breathe. So there's lots of practicals behind it, and there's something why breath actually helps you in a holistic way. So that's what we're going to explore. And Viola, she's a specialist in that area. And Viola, you started, you were the pioneer in this area, weren't you?
Yeah, I was one of the pioneers in South America, and it was early 90s. And when I discovered it, it was such a beautiful moment because I was in the business world. I started working at 13, actually, when I interrupted school because of immigration. And by early 30, I was already as a manager in an insurance company, but all the way through my dream of being psychologist, a teacher, so I was studying at night, and I was always in group, and it was that boom, late 80s, beginning 20s in I was in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
And one blessing day, I connected with meditation by chance. And by that time, I already was immersed in my own process as a patient in psychoanalysis, because I just could not stand it anymore to live in the confusion, in the grief, in the losses, so when I was 30, the gift for myself that day when I wake up, I said, life cannot be like this. I want different type of life. And even when I was doing courses for already maybe 6 years or more, and attending courses and talks and things, so I get it there right, and I immerse in my own process as a patient in psychoanalysis, 2 or 3 days per week sometimes. And I did that process for 4 years. And between the middle and the end of that process, I was blessed by the meditation and then by the breath work. And that was early 90s. And, I just, when you meet somebody and you fall in love, when you meet your cause, it's like breathwork gave me the infrastructure so I could fit all what I knew about psychotherapy, psychology, teaching, self-development together in that platform. And I just fall in love and went to US, started a training in Venezuela, and then I remember with very little money and very little knowledge, just immerse myself going and finding, and then it was like everything was open for me, and I connected one of the founder of this methodology I work, and was with him in his house and get a training, and it's like miracle and magic and all that things that happen with us when we're ready. As we're ready, and then all these paths are ready, or these masters are there offering us. And I returned to Venezuela like late 93, thinking, I need to do much more training, and I need, because
we do, yes,
formal words of corporate, and And this teacher looked at me and he said, "You're ready, you're ready. You have to start." And, you know, Chrisoula, I was doubting about it. And then I went to my therapist. And he said, "Well, I'm not your therapist anymore. You finished. And I've been looking to do some work in myself. So you can do breath work with me." And he was like a psychiatrist, a therapist, a teacher, older than me, like 30 years, you know. And I was like, couldn't believe it. So I was like a little bit intimidated. And then he said, come on, at least one. So I did him one session and he looked at me and he said, "You're good. I want to do, how is it? Tell me how is it?" I said, "Well, at least 10 sessions." And then said, "Well, I'm going to do it with you. And also I want to pay you." And so I asked him and he said, "No, you deserve much more." And, you know, you know, and my second client was a business consultant that I look up to, and she come as a business consultant to the insurance company where I was working. And she really supported me to be able to change and quit and go and work, because she saw my whatever talent and passion. And she was my second client. I mean, these two marvelous people, and same thing. She told me, "It's great. I want to do the whole process." And when I asked her for the fee, she said, no, I'll pay you more because you deserve more. And, you know, and this is how I start, like, encourage and that feeling that you are in the good place with the perfect subject at the correct time.
Yes.
And that was the beginning for me.
It's a beautiful, beautiful stage, isn't it? Beautiful moment when things are falling into place.
Yes.
Yes.
Especially for somebody like me who struggled so much in life. And I used to have that feeling of being an orphan, always like I had to work a lot to get rid of that feeling of being misplaced, or I have to be very careful. And you know what happened with orphan, that we lose our first home and then we're like annexed to other homes. And you're always so scared to lose these other homes. Mm-hmm. And there's a syndrome that we develop, like being the good people and not to bother anybody, because you're like, when you move to live with the grandparent or with your auntie or whatever, it's like it's not your real home. It's like you're attached, annexed. And I had suffered a lot from that. So it was, and always feeling, in the past, like I belong to another tribe. Why am I with these people? It's like I don't belong. And suddenly, you know, that feeling of belonging,
yes.
timing, marvelous time.
Yes, I felt that actually with color energy. I felt that this is where, you know, I can get it. It's part of me. It's part of who I am. And this is a calling behind. But we can talk about that a bit later.
Yes.
So it's fascinating, you know, and I know you can, if you like to know more about Viola's life and her experiences and her journey, you can find out more about it on her website. I'm sure there's lots of, you know, Viola has been, you know, involved with lots of publications, and she's written a lot of books, and also she's appeared in magazines and she's given interviews. So you'll be able to catch her somewhere, somehow, and find out more about her.
Open book. My life is an open book.
Yes. So breathwork. Okay.
Breathwork. Yes.
So let's start with, you know, where would you like to start? Would you like to start with the technicalities, with the
I want to start inspiring you. So this word, I love this word, and you are a woman of inspiration, Chrisoula. You have created all these, and now you're creating the book, and I just see all this color of Aurosa behind you. So inspiration. Inspiration means that I inhale, I inspire, and also means the inspiration of feeling the life and having a cause and having a purpose. So one of my slogan is inspiring you to new, colorful possibilities, because it's limitless, it's infinite. And you see, you started the interview saying, without breath, we don't have a life, and it's true. But we learn how to live half life, quarter of a life. So basically, what the proposal of the breath work, there's different technique, huh? So the one I'm working, we call it conscious connected breathing. It's a dynamic breathing where inhale is connected with exhale and exhale is connected with inhale, and it's going to use all the respiratory system. We're going to come a little later to the mechanic of it. But the most important thing is that we need to learn how to savor life, because many people, including myself, we go through life. We complain. We have traumas. We have dramas. I'm sure, and we see it every time there's a group of people together and we start saying about our stories, and each one of us has a story. Doesn't matter how big, how small, in related to the other person. This is your story, and it has been big for you. And the idea is not to forget the story or deny it or delete it. We can't. It's how we can integrate our stories, assume them as those events in life, so we can heal the wounds and not have these open wounds that nobody can come close to that wound because it hurts. And we project in other, and we create conflict, and we can't enjoy life as it is. So in the breathwork process, it's in the way how we do it, because it includes counseling, and in my case, psychotherapy, is also reviewing the open one to be able to do the stitches, this disinfection, plasters, whatever we need, so that won't become a scar and become part of our story, but not so fragile that nobody can touch it. No, we cannot go there, yeah? But to be able to do that, we need to learn how to take life fully, because if not, we're with this defense mechanism, because with that other mechanism, so we're so cautious and preventive things to happen to us, and we become
we
like
stay closed. We stay close to protect ourselves.
We affect our breathing. We affect the possibility of an expansive creative thinking. So breathwork has 3 major wings: breathing, the thought, and the action.
What was the first one?
Breathing, conscious breathing, thoughts, and action. Because we need to come back to be aligned, between what's our dream, what's our inspiration, what's our thought, what's our walk, what's our feeling, and what's our sentiment and purpose, If not, we are not breathing properly, we dream something, we say something, we do something else, and we don't manage to walk our talk. We don't inspire ourselves, and very few people can inspire us, and we're a little bit lost. So through the methodology of the breathing, we're gonna align the first thing that connect us with life, and this is the breathing. So because if we want to savor life in a totality, we need to savor the body. We need to feel.
We need to connect with your body. Yes,
in this body, isn't it? So and to be able to hold, to understand, to feel the body, we cannot do it without the breath. So from there, the slogan of breathe and live. Just breathe and connect with life. There is so many things. Go beyond the frontier that we people had, or family or culture. So the breathing session, we give how is the technique, is a session that will include like an hour approximately, lying down. Sometimes we do it sitting, depends if I'm taking it to companies and things. So we adapt it to the environment.
Yes.
But in general, is lying down, and it's like an active breathing when you're not active. That create like kind of little bit of contradictory thing in the body. Yeah, you're breathing like a little bit faster, like you're walking fast or you're running, but actually you're lying down. And at the beginning, you will do it like mechanically, as we're telling you to do, but in some moment it gets activated. And in those moments that get activated, the body go into a level of deep active relaxation, which is different than when you are in meditation or in an exercise of mindfulness. It's an active relaxation. And remember, we get ill when we are stressed. And we heal when we learn how to go into relaxation. And there is a theory that we experience every time, and you can experience it yourself, that stress and relaxation cannot live at the same time at the same place.
Yes.
Yeah. So every time you take your body and mind to a deep relaxation, this is a time that there is a healing happening in some part of your body and your mind. Yeah. So when the body go there and the mind stop doing the chit chat, but like go into a level, it's very similar to when you are between being awake and falling asleep in that stage. Yeah. Then the emotion feel like free to throw out certain information that belong to you, to that client, because those information are the information that in Spanish we said a flor de piel. A flor de piel means they are just in the flower of your skin. Yeah. So means that is what belong to your journey, what belong to you in this moment of your life. So maybe some connection will happen there that connect with a joyful moment or a sad moment or traumatic moment, according to what's your life, what's your momentum in life, and what you're ready to. Because I'm not inducing it, I'm not doing anything. There is no music, there is no smell, induction of music, smell or touch to take you to any place. Is where your own, this is what I love about this methodology, is totally empowering the person and their breathing system. Yeah, their respiratory system that take them
so
to
the way
relaxation.
Yeah, the way I get it is actually the way it feels to me now, and I know that I haven't experienced it myself, but the way from what we are sharing here is that through the breath, you're actually activating the power within you. Through the breath, you're activating, and you're bringing up, the wounds, the whatever that is, the joy at the same time. Yes, because both exist in us.
Yes.
Both.
For example, I have that case of a woman who was 34 years old. She wanted to have children. Doctor said everything is normal. She's not having children. They sent her to therapeutical process. She come to me because she didn't want to go to traditional process. And what we know about her, that she's been suffering from severe depression since she was 12. She's under medication. But, she managed to finish her study. She's married. Okay, she doesn't experience joy because of her condition, but she's functional, yeah? And then we do the breathing and the breathing session, and we finish. And she said, "Oh, nothing special." I said, "Nothing special?" She said, "No." I said, "No sensation." She said, "I just have an image. It's like a young girl who is in Olympic gymnastic. I couldn't recognize her." I said, and how was the feeling of that girl? And she looked at me like suddenly, she looked at me because for so many years she's not experiencing joy. She forget what joy is. She said, "I think she was content." Look at me like this, like, "Oh, I think it was me. I think I did Olympic gymnastics when it was like,
wow.
It was like a delivering of a memory." And then as we talk, actually, she belonged to a country that she was selected to be in the team of the Olympic team. to represent the country. But her family, who loved her and adored her, they were not well off, and they get very scared that something gonna be demanded of her or them that they cannot deliver. So they took her out of the team, and they gave her music and other things. Yeah. But because they could not afford, or they thought they could not afford, and after 2 years she went into trouble and the depression part, but nobody connected these with that. Yeah. And what we did in that session is through her own body. It's not I'm talking to her about what is contentment in life. The beauty about breathwork is that you're going to experience in your own body the power of the breath, the power of your breath. And then she experienced in her own system, what is it to be content? What is, and of course, it's not like all her problem gets solved, but this woman, she later on, I knew she was pregnant. She had already 2 kids, and she's still in treatment, but she had advanced a lot in her journey, a lot. So the other thing about breathwork, Chrisoula, is that it's not like therapy of all breathwork. It is therapy and breathwork
together.
Chrisoula session and breathwork is coaching and breathwork. It's very easy to integrate to any other methodology you're doing. So this is fascinating. Again, empowering, is inclusive, is not exclusive.
Yes.
I just love that because it gives freedoms, it makes your wings bigger. And then after 10 sessions that you do with a professional who's guiding the process, you can take it home. You can do it yourself. Isn't that fantastic?
Exactly. And that's the power that it gives you, because you can bring it into your everyday life.
Yes.
And then you can experience joy.
You can experience joy, you can experience how, for example, because we're human beings. We the stairs or the spiral of emotion. We cannot, neither you nor I.
It's ups and downs, absolutely.
Love and joy and contentment, peace all the time. We scroll up and down, but we learn, especially to the training program that I have and other training, how not to stay long in the limiting emotion. Because limiting emotion has an energy and make your vibration in a way, and that vibration has a power, and that power can be quite destructive for yourself and for others. But of course we go into frustration and pessimism and sadness and anger, but we just learn not to stay there.
Not too long, yes. Yeah.
And go in the
step out of it. Step out
yes,
of it. Yeah.
Yes. And not to pretend to be peace and love all the time. We're a dynamic we're dynamic human being, we're dynamic being. Just is the awareness to know, and I'm sure you know that as we progress, we regress. And we need to know when we regress, where do we regress? What are my limitations? To be able to get out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Because life is not only enlightenment. As one of my colleagues said, endarkment is just there. And for that, it's so good what you're doing. And we're doing groups together, because if I go into endarkment and I couldn't go out, I'm going to call you. I'm going to tell you what's happening. And you can help me, because you can see that I'm stuck in that part of the tunnel that is dark. That in general, I get stuck there, isn't it? Because we get stuck more or less.
If you don't know how to get out, if you don't have a technique, if you don't have a system in place or something, a tool, and that's what you're saying here, that breath works. And I love the how you can learn to easily implement it in your life. That's what I love about it.
Yes, of course, it's not gonna fix everything, but 10 sessions, it's gonna like kind of shake the tree of your life. And sometimes we go into some root things, sometimes we work in some branches, and then we renew to another 10 session, 5, 8, or maybe you move to a group, or maybe you go to a training. So the training are 600-hour training to become a breathwork counselor. And I divide them into 3 sectors, into 3 levels. So the first level is 200 hours, where we work a lot of self-development and how to do session one-to-one. So when people graduate, they go and do some work, at least 10 people, 10 sessions. This is 100 sessions. And they can come and do another 200 hours where they're going to get trained how to do groups. And then they work for 2 years actively, and they come back to do another 200 hours to learn how to train trainers.
Right.
And a training that is approved in many associations of breathwork in the world, and it's just beautiful. And and now we're doing them in Cyprus, in Bristol soon, in Belgium, in London. And the idea is to multiply the breath worker in the world, because there is a lot of healing on it. And you don't have to stop doing what you're doing as a coach, as a therapist, as a color therapist or sound therapist.
You complement it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, so for somebody, I would like to speak to people that there are different levels at their at your evolution journey. For somebody who's new at this, and they would like to bring the connection, they would like to get the connection with their breath. Now we get into guide them a little bit, and how could you actually guide them into what can they start from, before they actually go ahead and say, yes, this is what I like to learn more, or I like to bring that more into my life. But like somebody who is a mother who is stressed out very early in the morning, and the kids don't listen to what, get your shoes, whatever, or for a business person who is on their way to a meeting, and they know they've got a big event coming up, and they can see their heartbeat going like that. So what would you say? Because we're the different people in different stages and different circumstances and lifestyles. So how can they bring the breath into their lives?
Do you remember when we were growing up and we were getting some advice from older people, and they will tell us, count to 10 before you answer, just take it easy. The problem is when you count to 10, when you're frustrated and somebody else is talking to you, and what do? You count to 10 like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're not breathing. So you just delay 10 seconds or less the answer that you already have in mind. So it's very interesting, because it's like your mind is only in one move. So it's very important to breathe gently and deeply, and especially release the exhale. Don't push the exhale. If you're nervous, if you have a public speaking, if your children are making trouble in the morning, be careful of not doing because you're not breathing. You need to inhale, because if you just exhale so much, then what's happening is that you're going to stress yourself more. Try where you're moving and doing your stuff, inhale. And if you are in a meeting, you don't want to make the show, you can inhale like now, you and me were talking, and while you're talking, I can do, I'm still with you, but I'm just putting my attention in my inhale, and then the exhale just happened. Yeah, you when you're breathing consciously, you do half of the work. You work in the inhale. Exhale just happened, and when it happened, try to let go a little bit more. Empty, go a little bit more. And if you do that 2, 3, 4 times, every time you remember, you already are working very nicely. Now, we are very lucky in this time, because there is a lot of research about breathing, and there is a lot of thing in YouTube. There is a beautiful thing. If you go and you ask for butterfly coherent breathing, and then there is like 20 minutes or an hour, I don't remember, a beautiful butterfly opening and closing, a beautiful blue butterfly, that if you want to start doing exercise by yourself.
I remember I was doing that too.
Yes, just do like 5 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, Stop and do a little bit more later, you know? Imagine. And when you do 4 of those, this is my exercise, not the butterfly. When you do 4 of those, in the 5th one, make it very long, because you don't want to go into a process when you're alone. So just do 5, 10, 20 breathing of that, and that will help a lot. There is different exercise of breathing up to different moment in life. Start with that. There is, it's very important also, what's related with the breathing is our thought. Because look, as a child, you breathe very well, unless you had an illness, yeah? Then you are developing physically, growing, and you are developing emotionally and spiritually, and mentally, intellectually, yeah? The word of emotion starts in a very early age in the child, yeah? At the beginning, you can see our crying, you know, babies cry. And when they are crying, their breathing is okay, because you cannot cry without breathing.
Yes. Yes, breathe a lot. Absolutely.
This is one of the advantages in the past women had over men, because we cried much more than them. And I think we lived more because of that. I think we breathed more. But now, unfortunately, many women get so hardened that also they don't cry, yeah? So part of my Feminine Capital Rhythm program is about go back to your femininity, own your emotion again. Get what you're getting. Nobody will take away what we have achieved, but go back to your femininity capital, but this is another program. So coming back to the breathing, then that baby grow and toddler, and then it's a child, and the word of emotion start kicking in. The fear start kicking in, the sadness of start knowing the world differently, being in kindergarten or childminder or nannies or whatever is happening in the world of that child. And slowly, when the child is scared, angry, or sad, breath gonna limit. You don't see a scared child breathing fully. Scared child is like, yeah.
You get like that, yes.
Yeah. Or even in my time, I don't know you when you were, my sister used to be very naughty, and more than once I heard adult telling her, I don't want to hear even your breathing, you know, you just stay quiet. So, you know, so an angry child, he's not breathing. He's like not breathing, yes? So then we don't know about that, isn't it? And then we accumulate more of this emotion. And then we grow, and then we have much more uncertainty, much more insecurities. And as we grow, our breathing already had practiced so much not to breathe, so we don't breathe. And then you add to that cigarette, you add to that, like me, I used to sit like this. You add to that eating quickly, you add to that too much time in the car or too much time, you know. So our respiratory system is damaged.
Yes.
Of course we are alive, and of course we breathe, but how much of our capacity we are breathing? So what happened when I'm breathing badly, exhaling badly, not inhaling properly, without me knowing, my thought, my psyche can go to the time that I created that breath in my childhood when I was scared, or in my youth. And suddenly I feel sad. Suddenly I feel upset. And I don't know why. You know why? Because you're breathing in the same way when you were upset. So it is very important to catch it by the breath or by the thought. If you catch yourself obsessed, thinking again, what are they going to do to me? They are damaging me. They are stealing my thing. They are doing... You need to breathe. You need to help yourself to get out of obsessive thought. Anything that you think about it more than 5 times that has no solution and is not a creative process, you're getting obsessed.
Right.
Transform it. Because if it has no solution, thinking about it more is not going to bring anything. And if it has solution, let's move toward the solution. Let's do that telephone call. Let's, you know, like.
So actually take a step, do something, act.
Exactly. I said breathwork, thought, and action. Yeah. For example, when I saw that your book gonna come out, and I've been so busy, and I had my husband in the hospital, and all this year has been a little bit, you know, and I felt the impact. Oh my God, I'm not gonna be in that book. And instead of being a victimized or beating myself up that I didn't read your posting properly, I make the action.
Yes.
Isn't it? I write to you, Chrisoula, if there is any chance, yeah, okay, what can happen that you tell me no, this is the worst thing can happen. I can take a no. I'm an adult. Everybody who make initiative, we should be prepared for a no.
Yes.
But I don't hold that thing condemning myself that I didn't read the post, I've been absent, I didn't answer you, I didn't, no. Or how it's possible, why she didn't tell me specifically, I'm so special, but she didn't treat me special, blah, 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 blah. She doesn't love me, blah, blah, blah. No, life has events, and those events touch us. And if we want to be part of them, we make the call. If we don't want part of them, we have to ask, get out, put boundaries, or ask for help to help us to get out of them.
Yeah.
So this is what conscious breathing will help you to understand the value, the beauty of life. I just love that word in French, isn't it? The joie de vivre is like the joy of life, the joy of life. Yeah. But it's not a concept. It includes work. It includes breath work. Sometimes it's not very popular, maybe because you need to come and you need to breathe.
You need to become more responsible for your own well-being. That's what it is. It is self-responsibility.
Exactly.
And
so it's not just.
Because as you said before, it's easy just to give the part to somebody else and blame somebody else and become a victim, as you said before. But but in your case now, what you're saying with breath and how we work around breath is actually you activate your own inner power and you bring it back to you. And you say, I deserve to have more. I deserve to be joyful, and whatever emotional waves navigate through. I know that breath can actually bring me back to where,
center.
Back to your center. Yes.
To be aligned, because we get when we go into fear, and we have seen it so many times with colleague and with friend and with family member, isn't it? When they enter into fear, they get discentered. Do you say discentered or uncentered in English? They get uncentered. And they become unwise. They do think I'm not wise.
Yeah.
So this person who's very beautiful and wise, when they lose the alignment, they do unwise thing. Or getting distance from one person that nobody understands, or attacking a person that nobody understands, or having accidents, or because they do that, then later they need to justify that, and then it will be something like this, and it becomes something like that, because many of us, we didn't heal victimacy. We still in the word
being a victimization. Victimization. Yes.
Exactly. And when we interpret the word in a way, or in reality happened to us, and we were abused by the system, or by some member of the family, or by the authority of the school, or our first jobs, or our teacher of sport, whatever. So we still hold that trauma, and we recreate it in our adult life. And basically what we need is to break free from that, Chrisoula.
Yeah.
And how better way than with your own breath to do that. Yes. It's dynamic, it's fantastic, it makes the therapeutical process much quicker. And also it has a beautiful thing, the breath work, because when I'm working with a client in breath work, I'm silent. It's my energy. I'm holding the space for that person, and I'm there to serve if he or she cries, if they feel cold or hot. but it's not my intellect who's working.
Yeah.
Them.
You're not coming from
Their
here, you're
inner
coming
life.
from your heart. Yeah.
And that's so good for us coaches and therapists and counselor and mentors, because we are so trained to give and to show how much we know. And it's so humbling, because it's not about me then, it's
No.
about them. And what they go through, then I work with them with the information they gave me. And that I just love it, because it keeps me grounded.
Yes. Yes. I do agree with you. I do, absolutely. It is about the persons that actually honoring the fact that they took the step to come and ask for help and ask for guidance, and they want to see the transformation.
Yes.
And holding that space for them, absolutely.
Yes.
And then guide them from here, guide them from your heart, and so they feel ready. They feel ready to open up more. So
Yes.
for the healing to happen.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's about breaking the limitation that we have built through our childhood and teenage. And don't tell me, please, don't lose your time telling me, no, it didn't happen to me. As one of my teachers said, it happened to all of us. Because when we were under 10, our energy was so open, and we didn't have all the intellectual level to be able to understand what life is about.
Mm-hmm.
And even when we have the most loving parents, even when we study in the most holistic school, there were things happening on TV, on the street with some friend that we could not understand, and
Mm-hmm.
stay there in our system like cysts.
Yeah.
And those, then when we become teenager, we start putting our first defense mechanism, but those cysts are there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we are 20, 30, 40, 50 now. I'm in my late 50. And if we're not careful, there is a lot of defense mechanism with all the interest and the accumulation of those cysts that multiply and make me have an opinion about the world or about the people that is so distortioned. And with that, I move around and I graduate and I have children and I marry and I unmarry and I create businesses and I have employees. And I'm part of that system that also is created pain to others. Because if I'm holding my wound open, it's impossible that I'm not going to touch others with my interpretation of victimization or not. Yeah. So, defense mechanism, I could be very intimidating, shouting and threatening. I could be cynical, ironical, interrogating and putting you down. I could be very distant and cut you with the knife of the silence. Mm-hmm. Or I can be very victimized.
Drama.
Everything dramatized and everything hurt. And all these four characters have the same power. Yeah. We think that the intimidator have more power than the distance. No. All of them has power to injure others.
Yeah, the distant ones is the lack of responsiveness, which is something that it's when you don't actually respond and you just keep yourself away from something. It's indifference as well, or the lack of care.
Like you cannot get them. You don't understand what's happening. You know, they don't meet you, but the punishment is there.
Yeah. It's come from that. Yeah. And then they don't realize they're actually punishing themselves. That's what they don't realize.
But all punish themselves and others. Yeah. And this is how we move. First with our family, then with the school, then with our job, then with our relationship, then with our business partner and our children. And it's like, but we have the responsibility to
absolutely
to change that chain and go into a sphere of more sustainability and use our time creating and healing. And well, for me with the breath, it's just fantastic.
Yes. Well, you actually touched a subject that really close to my heart, which is actually when everything comes to formulate and understand more of who you are as a child. And this is an area that I'm really passionate about, because I would like to empower children from a young age to understand what mechanisms, what techniques they can bring in, so it comes into their lives naturally.
Yes.
So it doesn't have to be 40 or 50 years down the line to start realizing, actually, I could bring this technique into my life, and I could use breath, or can use color, I can use other lovely therapies out there. It's actually how that's my big dream, is actually how we can bring all these therapies and all these specific techniques that will help children at a young age, and equally help parents, because parents, if they don't know how, they cannot help themselves, but also they cannot show, they cannot, because it's like it's a role model being a parent, isn't it, or a teacher.
I'm going to do that again, and hopefully we can do it together. In Venezuela, we had February, the month of breathwork, whole month. Okay. And always we will take 1 year for schools, 1 year for hospital, one year for prison. So we were taking breathwork all over. And for school, we did a lot of work with teachers, how, for example, I have experience with hospitals, and like if you go to emergency room and see the parent who have children with asthma, and the children are inside, and you just check the breathing of the parents. And we used to teach them and show them how the parents can breathe when the child goes into asthma. Mm-hmm. Not that, do whatever you're doing, go to the hospital, use the inhalator, but you be conscious of your breathing, because child go into the drama and the dysfunction itself, and the parents go into so much fear that their breathing is absolutely altered. So the child perceives also that there is danger, and that it's become cause and effect. And I did that test for in the 90s, so many people, and they would report to me sometime, we were going to the hospital, and I just have him or her in my chest breathing as you taught us, and in some moment he started breathing, and we didn't have to go to the hospital, or we did go, but when we arrived, he already was okay, and doctor was telling us, what did you do, So there is a lot of field to go into consciousness about how breath can affect the way how we go more anxious, and we go more panic. And now I was mentioning to you, I have a program, Breathwork for Recovery. Mm-hmm. And because of, through this technique, you go into non-ordinary state of consciousness for dealing with addiction is just marvelous.
Wow.
Because people can go into that space where consciousness is much beyond that we just see. Mm-hmm. Because we feel it in the body, we feel it everywhere when we're breathing, that it helps a lot into the process. Of course, following whatever we are following, the 12-step or whatever the rehab center is following. So I have a new dream now. I want breathwork to be in all rehab center of the world.
Yes.
Alongside the other thing. And nowadays, all of us, we know about somatic therapy and how the pain gets stored in the body, and we want to heal the body, we need to go into conscious breathing.
Yes.
It's the touch, it's whatever methodology you're doing for the somatic therapy, you need to understand the breathing. So we have a lot of field where we can develop, and this is what I'm doing, training therapists in rehab center to become breath workers, I want to train breath workers to be therapists, to be able to be in the rehab center, mm-hmm. with accompanied with other specialists. And I want to train everybody to be able to become a breath worker.
Yes.
So this is where I'm going. Again, I did that in the 90s in South America and in Spain and US. And then, as you know, my story, I fall in love when I was 40, and then I moved to Cyprus and married when I was 44, and that was my first marriage, and actually my first kind of normal relationship. So by that time I was all over the world traveling, and I was so clear because of my consciousness that I don't know how to do relationship. I know how to work, but I don't know how to do relationship. And I thought if I will continue being at home 1 week and 3 weeks away, it's not going to work. So I let go of my career in that way and created other in Cyprus. And it took me 14 years to really become solid and well known. And for that, 2 years ago, having a solid marriage and solid name in Cyprus, then I went back to international. And then you saw me in Cyprus. Some people said, what happened to her? Where is she? Because for many years I was just here, low profile, following, learning about the community and learning about myself, this wild personality in a marriage, how that's gonna work, and it was not easy, challenging, but very beautiful. And I'm in a good relationship, in a good space.
Yeah. It's beautiful when we have that connection with another human being, and we are in a relationship with another life partner. It's beautiful. Fantastic. Well, Viola, we can carry on talking about, because I know
you and me.
We love what we're doing, and we love helping other people, and we know that we're here to serve and bring more joy and expansion in your lives and in my life and in Viola's life. And by doing what we love, we actually we are feeding ourselves up, and we are fueling ourselves as well. So I'd like to close this soulful musings for today with you, Viola. And would you share your book, a book that we can actually learn more about breathwork? Or
yes. So this book was written in 1999. You can find it in Amazon, and it's Breathing the Rhythm of Success.
Mm-hmm.
Rhythm, you're going to find me a lot with rhythm. My name is Viola because my dad was a musician. And I like the name of your book too. So it was that time that this is 2000. We were doing breath work all over, and then last year, we published this book. And if you ask about the name, Who Makes the Bed, we owe this title to our dear friend Marina Nani.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We had the name for the book, Conscious Relationship, and she said, let's find another name. And then I told her a story how the agreement me and Michael we have about who changed the sheets and who. This is the title. So Marina is the godmother of this book.
Yes, she's wonderful.
Yes, and then lately I'm so grateful again, going into the cover of magazine and I have Marina's Sovereign article, and it's just a time of expansion. And you can find my books in Amazon, and you can write to me. My website is violaedward.com. And in Facebook, you will find me as Viola Edward. And one of the pages is Viola Edward de Glanville, because it's my married name. Because it was difficult to use the married name after 44 years.
So you kept it and you added the Glanville, yes?
Yes, sometimes they call him Michael Edward, and he doesn't correct. They think Edward is mine. Anyway, so I can tell you that it's a good moment of life. Become just 59, and there's so much to do.
Yes, there's a lot to do. Yes,
so much to do, and I'm so grateful to you with what you're doing, and to all these network in the world that we can join and create different tribes all over to live in this level of consciousness and more expansion and more learning. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much. And the actual book's motto, if you like, is collectively with one mission: to serve thousands of lives globally.
Yes. Pleasure.
So that's. Yes, thank you, Viola. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm sure we'll have the chance to bring you back, and then we can have more of this. Yes, because I loved it.
I interview you. Yes. Okay.
Yes, that would be great. Yay! Let's do that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, lots of love from me, Chrisoula. the Golden Muse, and from my dear friend and guest, Viola Edward, to Granville. Okay, bye for now.